Community Business Hour, 90.1 FM.
It's time to talk business, specifically community business on Community Business Hour with the You Can Do It team. Every Tuesday at noon, business-minded folks join the conversation with insight and information on how they took on the sometimes overwhelming challenges of business. Each contributing voice is a firm believer in helping you become a stronger social economic contributor. Here on Community Business Hour, we know the right information can change your life. Community Business Hour is for anyone wanting to be around local business-minded people. Whether you're starting or growing a business, running a nonprofit, or seeking employment, the You Can Do It team is on air and online for you. Phone lines are open, 713-526-8737. And you can connect with us across the social media spectrum at CBHOUR. Now let's talk some business.
Welcome to Community Business Hour. It's yours truly, John Whaley, a.k.a. Jonyprofit. Hope Easter was a pleasant time for you. Got out to hang out with family and had a great time. So in studio today, I have a whole lot of people. It's packed in here. So how we're going to do it is we're going to have another one of our business luncheons. We're not going to have a roundtable. So if you're eating and you're tuning in and you're fans of Yvette, Shantara, Bianca was nice enough to bring her in, and Peter, who I just really had a chance to connect to over the weekend while we were at the Microsoft store, is here in studio today. And so again, Community Business Hour is about business leader, business-minded people having the opportunity to share without all the hype and extra stuff that goes with it. So a lot of times we do this over lunch, coffee, dinner, things like that. And for you, the listener, we hope this is a moment for you to eavesdrop, have a little voyeur moment where you get to listen in on people that are building, growing, learning, discovering, dealing with challenges, things of that nature. So phone lines are open. I'm going to give it to you if you're listening live. It's 713-526-8737. If you'd like to talk to any of the guests that are in studio today, and what I'm going to do is step out of the way because that's my role, and I'm going to allow them to just do what they do. They're going to share stories. They're going to share insight. They're going to chat it up. I may jump in every once in a while, but we'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, you're going to meet today's crew. So with that said, again, phone lines are open at 713-526-8737. You're listening to Community Business Hour here on 90.1 KPFT.
Looking to grow your existing business? America's SBDC Network can help. America's SBDC Network no-cost growth acceleration services provide in-depth consulting to assess your financials, optimize performance, uncover new opportunities, and accelerate business growth. Ready to grow? Visit us online or contact your local office to get started on your path to success today.
Houston Public Library links you to the world. And now, each one of us can have our own personal link to the world with the new Houston Public Library, MyLink. MyLink gives you access to more than 6 million books and magazines, 130 online resources, 26,000 ebooks, and 5,000 movies for free. All for free, anytime, anywhere. I have MyLink. Do you have yours?
All right, here we go. All right, so I hope you're ready because we definitely are. So again, in studio, I have some wonderful folks, and they're going to share with you a lot of wonderful insights. So without further ado, we're going to start the introductions as we go around the table. We will start with... I'm going to start with Peter because he's the only guy in the room. Like, seriously. I mean, Peter, normally I say ladies first, but Peter's I don't like to talk, one person in the room, and we're going to start with you. So, Peter, Tran, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Peter Tran. I founded a company called My Menus and More. The purpose of that is to do cross promotions we want to help. I believe the future technology is going to change the way how we do marketing and the way how business is able to interact with each other and share their demographic and cross promote. So what I'm trying to do is just create a cross promotional platform that helps small businesses connect with their customers, as well as target each other's work with other businesses to target their own demographic, to share good services in the community. So
Awesome. Go ahead, Yvette.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. This is Yvette Mayo. I am the founder of Yo Soy I Am LLC. It is a training and consulting firm helping companies today find the right skills they need to help their employees. I believe that companies need to invest in their greatest asset, and it's their people. So I have a saying, I like to leave people better than I found them. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome.
Good afternoon. I'm Shantira Chapman, the founder and executive director of the Chapman Women's Foundation. I founded the Chapman Women's Foundation several years ago, and it's a foundation geared towards the betterment of women. Most recently, we've started giving scholarships to women who are building businesses, going back to school, as well as ladies who are getting out of shelter. So my mission and my passion has always been helping women to do more and achieve more with what they have. So not necessarily providing a handout, but a leg up, whether it's in corporate America or, just building businesses and building their community around them. I'm also the managing partner of a new consulting firm here in the city of Houston, where two women are building a brand new consulting business in the IT industry for organizational change management for mid-sized companies. Okay,
so jumping back, we'll go that same order, coming back the other way. What got you started? How did you go from, where'd you come from? And were you corporate and then you transitioned, or how did that work out for you?
Yes, I'm actually in corporate America for almost 20 years. Oh my goodness, like 17, 18 years. But I founded my foundation when I was still in corporate America. And what got me started was seeing women who need help. I actually was volunteering at a women's shelter for my corporation, and wanted to do more than just hand them a check. I wanted to be able to do more. I wanted to be able to help them. And I started teaching assertiveness at that women's shelter. And from there, they asked me, would I do a conference or consider doing something else? And of course, my answer was nope, that's a lot of work, so not doing it. But going back to work and seeing women in corporate America needing help in one way or another, may not be the same as those ladies in shelters, but still needing a little bit more support. And I felt like I could be that conduit to that support. I may not have all the answers, but I definitely knew how to organize and get people there who could help women. And so that's how it started for me. Yeah. And slowly have been able to make that transition from not just being this corporate person, but having that foundation, having to go home and be able to help in the community, and now being able to walk away from corporate America and do something on my own has just been a rewarding journey.
I see. Yvette, how did you get started?
Oh, my story is long. I hope an hour I can certainly take up the time here. I started in corporate America after almost 30 years of corporate experience. I realized that I wanted to take that next step in my life, that purposeful journey, doing something that really mattered. You always hear it, find the job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I realized that when I worked with people and helped them find the right skills that they needed, it was something that was really rewarding for me. So I was a corporate trainer, and I worked with a global team. I had an opportunity to work throughout the world, Asia, Latin America, and Europe, and help onboard those teams, but help them understand how it was to work with a domestic company, because there's different mindsets. We're talking about global business models. But what happened is people struggle with those interpersonal skills. Right. So I got to be that conduit in that space. I got to fill that gap where I got to be what I like to call the corporate ambassador. I helped balance that cultural indifference and also the language gap that was there. So that was one of those things that really made sense to me. And if I could do that for a major corporation on a global scale, I started thinking, what can I do to help an individual, a small business or mid-sized company who's struggling with the same thing, but one, can't identify it, that it's a cultural difference. Two, that language and internal conflicts are an issue, but how do I make them get better so they can reach their marketplace even better? So Yo Soy I Am is about helping people be multicultural. So I like to tell people I'm about helping you develop a multicultural strategy for your business.
Awesome. Thank you, Yvette. Peter?
Yeah, well, I actually started, I went to the first startup weekend, and there's a hackathon, and I was able to meet some great entrepreneurs and developers, and we developed a business plan over the weekend, and then that really got me into the entrepreneur bug. I mean, I've always been entrepreneurial, but that really kicked it off for me. And I realized there's a need there, there's a future there. You know, all these people, you meet 54 people who's strangers, middle of the weekend, and they came out with 13 projects that are just super awesome.
Right.
And so that got me into the bug. So I started I was working for a marketing company at the time. I learned a lot from there. I see there were opportunities to help smaller business promote, because we were dealing mostly with corporate, oil and gas related companies, trade show exhibits, things like that. And so I got into that. And what I realized is that a lot of small businesses are they're good at their trade, what they do, but there's a lot of part of the business they don't understand. Technology and it changes so much, so fast. And to make the right decision is important, because you can make the wrong decision, it could cost your business opportunity costs. The time it takes you to invest and the money you invested in this technology could, make or break you.
Right.
And so I see the opportunity there, and my goal is to educate business owner on things like web design, marketing, the opportunities that are out there, the new tools that are coming up to you that can, that really enhance your business. And so that is my goal, is to help those businesses do that and to cross promote.
So one of the things I heard between all three of you is a strong connection with people. So if I say the word people, what comes to mind for you?
Engagement. When you say the word people, I think of wanting to engage, not just throwing something at someone, but getting something in return.
Yvette?
I'm going to just jump on that one. That was the first thing, engagement. Create that interchange between us, trying to find how can I help you, but how can you help me?
Right.
Because that's how entrepreneurs grow.
Yeah, Peter?
I mean, that is definitely a top engagement. It's cross promotion, helping each other, engagement. Because, we're a smaller society, we're a more informed society, and that engagement is important. It's who we define ourselves through this engagement.
So since we touched on culture, explain or talk to us about the culture that you create or attempt to create in your organization, or even with your customers, because a lot of small business owners really don't think in terms of culture. They hear it. If they didn't come from like corporate, where it's kind of beat into you, it's part of the mantra and all that, they really don't understand that their actions directly impact not only their employees, but their suppliers and everybody else. And if they let it run amok, crazy things happen. So explain how you guide and lead with culture.
The culture I try to create is more of a mentoring culture. As we talked about engagement and what we learn, Yvette, you were saying what you get from someone else, it's learning from someone else. And so everything that I do and all of the things that we do with the foundation and even in my business, it's learning from one another, and it's building on that. So all of the events and all of the things that we've done has been around. No one on the stage is the expert at anything. We're there to tell our story and hope that it touches someone, but at the same time, get from them what did you receive from that, and understand how that's going to help you. Because some days you can walk out of there and you've learned more from everyone in the audience that you've spoken to than what you felt like you've given. So it's that fostering that mentoring environment, I think, is really, really key, because right now in our society, everyone feels like I need to do it me by myself.
Yes.
I'm in business, and that means I have to be the one that's going to succeed or fail, and I'm going to do it by myself. Yes, in some cases, if you're a solopreneur, but quite frankly, if you don't have someone there that's helping guide you and mentor you and, kind of work with you and, ride that roller coaster with you, which it really is, being an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, then you're going to struggle. Yeah. And so it's being okay with talking about what concerns you, being okay with talking about your failures and learning from everyone around you.
Right.
So would you say you have an open door policy on your communication, or you're a hard dictator?
I'm so not a hard dictator. Not at all. I mean, I want to get my point across, but then after that, it's okay, what do you guys think?
Right.
I tend to know my lane, and if there are things that are outside of my lane, I definitely want to hear about it. I want to hear people, I want to be better. Yeah. And the only way I can be better is if someone's
And that's a very big challenge for small business owners when they know what they want to do. They're very passionate about what they want and where they want to go, and no one's going to tell them any different.
Staying in the box.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to stay with the E word. So we went from engagement. So the other thing that I believe that I can bring to the table or help people understand is the other word is empathy and then empowerment. When we talk about culture is unique to each individual, even within your own family dynamic. So I teach this not only to small businesses and individuals, but corporations to understand that culture is a behavior. It's not anything that, you see. It's not clothes people wear. It's really a behavior. It's mindsets. It's feelings. It's emotions. It's how they react to things. And so what happens is especially with women, which is another area that I've gotten involved with, is that sometimes women don't see themselves as leaders. Their role has always been the helper. So now as we have more opportunity in society through education and corporate environments, women have the opportunity to be leaders, but sometimes they don't see themselves as leaders because cultural roles have dominated those mindsets. So one of the things that I always have to do is be empathetic and understanding to people's individual culture, whether they're from Asia, Latin America, or even just from Houston, and understand that the shift has to take place and it starts with you. So it's time to change your culture, and that is your mindset, your feelings, and how you act. And then the other part of it is empowering them, letting them know that they have the skill sets and also the ability to move on to the next level. And some businesses, when they start, they know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And so where I like to come in is help them understand, I know your role. I'm an entrepreneur, but then let me help you get the skill sets that you need. Let's sharpen those tools that you have in your box and be empowered to go out and reach further. And as I like to say, dream bigger.
Right. Peter, culture and tech. What's it looking like?
It's definitely it's good. I mean, culture. I mean, it's we have, thanks to Silicon Valley, we have much more freedom. We all work at home. We got a lot more, individual things like that. But I think I want to point out is that I think empowerment is a good thing. But I think also you got to always self-assess your culture. Always continue to improve, learn, and look out of the box, but look at what other companies are doing, what you can improve on. Know your weakness, know your strength. And that's
know your competition.
Know your competition. And so I mean, I get a lot of my ideas from big things I read about other companies, what they do right. You take what they do well and you apply it to yourself. Like I read about a college, the MBA program. They adjusted it about a few years back. Instead of the requirement to get the MBA, you would start as the team. They just select you. You start. That's what you start for first year. To finish, you have to graduate together, work as a team. And the idea was, well, what if you don't get along with each other? Well, they say tough luck, because that's what you have to do when you get a job.
Right.
You have to learn how to negotiate the personal thing and get along with and work with each other. I love that idea. To force people, to make that. That's part of education, though. And
I'm glad you traveled or you opened that door. So I'll now come back around and ask. I'm big on learning, and I'm big on learning then applying it. So I have a lot of friends that love to learn and then they don't apply it. So when it comes to sharpening your blade, what do you do?
Oh my goodness, I'm the geek among my friends. I have an IT background, so I work in that technology. So if someone says something that I don't know anything about, first I'm going to Google, then I'm going to get a book. I have books about everything. I tell people if I needed to do brain surgery, I can find a book and a YouTube video, and I've got it.
It's like the Matrix, plug it in and go. Yeah,
because I always want to apply something new. I always want to do things in a different way. And so even as a project manager and doing things that I've done, my career started in the aerospace industry, and so I learned a ton working at NASA, and then moved into oil and gas, where I've had to learn new ways of doing things because NASA had their way. And so I teach when I go and work with the women in my foundation. It's not just about staying in your box. There's that flexibility. And I think the buzzword right now is being agile. And so, that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're constantly sharpening your sword because you never know where your business is going to take you. You don't know where your career is going to take you. And if you try to stay in that box, you're going to be there. And if somebody closes the top on that box, then you're stuck in there until you figure out how to break out of it. So I'm constantly doing online classes or reading or on the internet, just trying to understand things and do something new.
And I think being active helps.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm watching the kids, the more engaged and involved they are, the more they want to learn versus the more passive you are. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, Yvette, how do you sharpen the blade?
Well, I have a saying that I'm full of sayings, but if you're living, you're learning.
Yeah.
You know, the minute you stop living is the day that you stop learning. I believe that we can learn and relearn things in life. So I'm a teacher, so that's my gift. I acknowledge that. I know that my goal in life is to help others, and that's where I find my purpose. So because I teach, I have to learn. So one of the things that I'm doing as a business owner is always trying to find out how can I add a new product, a new service to my company so I can better my clients. But through that, I have to learn. And then the other thing is that that cultural thing. I have to also admit that I don't know everything, and that it's okay to show weakness. So one of the things that I do is I find people. I have a network of people, or net worth of people. I probably have more in net worth in terms of the community that I'm connected to. So I have this thing that if I need to find something out, I call someone in my network and says, we need to sit down. I need you to help me. How does this work? How have you resolved this? How have you overcome this? How do you see that happening in my life? And how can that help me? Do I need to go in that direction? Do I need to move away from it? Do I need to run from it? But I use my network as another another strong resource of learning. But the other part of it too is that what does that create? It starts creating a group, an advocacy between me and that person. Because now that they've shared something with me, they want to see me succeed.
Right.
And so it continues to grow. And that's one of the things I constantly tell people. Don't be afraid to admit that you don't know anything. Don't be afraid to pick up a book or do some research, but open your mouth and tell people you need help.
Yes. I'm huge on please do not fake it till you make it.
Oh,
yeah. No.
Because real will recognize you're faking it, and you'll be
credibility shot from
gone.
there.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is that eventually you make the mistake of putting your foot in your mouth or doing something that it's a bad reflection on you.
Right.
And when we are in a small community and you've got a brand to maintain and a business to uphold, the last thing you want to do is make a huge mistake that can cost you. And all you had to do is ask a question or get the right information. I mean, information is what closes the gap for us. Yeah. And so one thing that I think that Peter said is that he's seen many people, small business owners, waste a lot of time and money and starting their websites, whatever the case is. And, all they needed was a little bit more information that could have saved them those valuable resources. And that's what's happening. People are wasting their resources because they don't have the right information.
That's true. That's true. Peter?
Well, about that information thing, I think one of the problems with information is that we have too much information nowadays. So you can read, on one topic and you can get 10 different opinions. You never know what's real, what's not, And so I think that's one of the information. But I learned basically through reading and researching. I'm intellectual. That's one of my fault. So, but I also like to talk to people. Talk to the expert, and ask questions. And so, but I'm learning. I need to be more. I need to ask for help a little more. I need to grow my business, grow who I am, become the person I want to be. Because I have a vision that that I think is part of the future. Because part of it, I do a lot of things at home. I'm a geek. I like to learn. I'm an analytical person by nature, and so I do a lot of stuff. I analyze the market on my own, and I have my own opinion about it. That's not coincide with what most people think. I think the good and the bad, and I weigh what I believe. When I go out there and say, hey, I talk to people about it, and try to get what the real issue is. And so what I need to learn is I think I need to go out there and talk to more people and ask for help more. Like you said, and that's what I need to grow.
I can help you with that, Peter.
Yeah, so I don't do that too much, but it's kind of my shyness. So,
and that's what makes today's episode really fun for me, because I'm not a people person. Okay, I can tell everybody knows this. I'm not a people person. Bianca, I told, I'm like, I don't do people. I'm good. But I play that part well because that's part of the tools I had to develop over time. So I'm very much the introvert, and I like to keep to myself and stay in my cave. But even in hanging out with Peter, talking with you, and we haven't had a chance to really chat, the information I get from others is probably the most powerful time I can ever spend. Like, you had mentioned like 4 things that really just opened up my box and was like, you forgot there were like 3 other hemispheres out here. And then I went home and did more research. And so I guess the point is, when it comes to power networking or power net worthing, I see so many people busy going to chamber meetings and going to these functions. They have no intentions. They just jumped up and went because it was on the calendar. They start flicking out cards like ninja stars everywhere. You know, it's like they want everybody to know the 20 different businesses they have. So if you could break down for anyone that's out there business minded that right now they really need the answer, what's your networking technique and what do you look for? What process do you go through to decide this is where I'm going to be today?
For me, my technique is authenticity.
Okay.
I typically do not go to the chamber meetings where all we're doing is passing out business cards. I'm trying to create a real connection.
Right.
I want true relationships, because if I want someone that's going to work with my business, whether it's my consulting business or even my foundation, I need them to be true and authentic and understand the mission.
Right.
And that also means that I'm going to need to be comfortable enough with you to share that mission. So if you don't make me comfortable enough, and if you look like you're just going to the next person, you're waiting for me to give you...
Thanks, see you later.
Yeah, exactly. And they're looking at your card and they throw it in their purse really quickly or in their pocket. That's not for me.
Yeah.
And, quite frankly, business cards and all of that costs money. I don't want to just keep passing them out so they can go in someone's trash can.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a true connection and an authentic conversation.
So people know, how many times a week or a month do you feel is adequate to get out? Whether it's different phases of your business or, think about where you started, where you are now.
Right. When I started, I was trying to go out almost every day. I was killing myself.
Yeah.
Going to every meeting, trying to meet everybody. And now I'm at a point where maybe it's like twice a week.
Okay.
And I'm really making sure that, okay, who's going to be here? What type of people are going to be there? Is it really going to be an audience that's beneficial to what I'm trying to do?
Yes.
Or these are just great people that I want to meet?
Gotcha.
Because sometimes that person that you meet at a networking event may not be someone that's going to be a buyer for you, but they may know someone later, or they're going to be a strong supporter, and you never know when you need someone that's going to help build you up and empower you to move to a next step.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're going places that you enjoy the people that are there.
Yeah.
If you don't, you feel like you've wasted your time, and you may not follow up with any of them.
Right, and then you're mad at that organization.
I'm not supporting anything they do.
Everything they do.
I'm done.
Yeah.
No, but I have a couple of strategies, because my small business has survived because of networking.
Awesome.
I mean, the connections that I have made through network have gotten me invitations to the White House, to meet CEOs of corporations, to just to some of my best jobs so far. But I think what happens is there has to be a real strategy. Yeah, I'm with Shantara. I actually went to everything that was on the calendar. I went to men's event, women's events. I did everything. I went to churches. I kissed baby. I mean, you swear I was running for political office.
Right.
The reality is that I wasn't sure about who my best customer was. And once I sat down and defined who is my best customer, or who is my next best client, that's what made me develop a stronger strategy. So I'm with Shantara. I'm probably going out maybe 2 times a week at best. It depends on what I have, whether if I have a workshop taking place, one of my John Maxwell masterminds, if I have something in my plan that I have to promote, that may require for me to be out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is having a strategy. And so one of the things that I do is I have a trusted executive team. They're just a trusted group of advisors, women or men that in this local market that know me, know my business, and know what I'm looking for, because I've sat down with them and told them, listen, if you know anyone in this realm or in this industry, I'm looking for them because I need an open or an introduction. And if they have a table or they have an event that they're going to be at and they need someone to go with them, I make myself available. Why? Because we have this communication between us and an understanding that we want to help each other. So with that said, I go to events that I'm invited to by this trusted group.
Okay.
And then the other part of it is anytime I go, I create a personal strategy. I don't want to collect business cards. Listen, the person who asks for my business card, most of the time I'll say, I don't have one, I'm out. Can I get yours?
Yeah.
And the reality is because I don't want to get your spam. I don't want to get your newsletter. I don't want to get all that stuff. I have too much to do to sit there and delete your email from my inbox.
Right.
The reality of it is that I go in with a real thing to accomplish. I call it my what. I identify my what, but you have to say it with a little attitude. Okay. What? And the reason is that's what I want to accomplish and what I need. And if I have to identify that to myself before I get there, and when I find those people within that room, those are the people I target. If you can help me accomplish what I want, what I need, then you and I are best friends.
Wow.
And that's how I handle it.
All right. That was a quick break, and we're back. Okay. Go ahead, Peter.
I'm still kind of...
There we go. What's causing that? It's me. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm still kind of new to the networking game. I'm like John. I mean, I like to be myself. I'm not a big people person. But what I learned is that I tend to look, I do a lot of meetup. That's mostly where I go to. And I look at the organization, what they're about. I try to read some of the comments they have, look at the members. And what I find is that if you go out there, you are going to, somewhere along the line, the synchronicity, the way how the world is working, the stars align, you just meet the right people. And so I'm starting to find that out. I'm learning a little better, making my choose. So I don't network a lot, but I do find the right network is more important. Just like find the right clients are very important. Not just try to go different clients. So that's what I'm learning.
And so I didn't do much background on this because I didn't want to interject and try to lead the conversation. But one of the things I want to touch on and ask about while I had it's 2 to 2, but because I'm the host, it's a 2 to 1 male female ratio in here, has to do with women in business. Okay, so I grew up in the single mom household. Okay,
me too.
And it's one of those situations where there's a lot of people leading them around that are giving them information based on what somebody with no responsibilities, no anything. Long story short, as a person, like as a dad that has 2 kids and they're with me, 24/7 and trying to run a business, and I'm at a meeting and I got one here, one there, that kind of thing. Talk about the challenges of it, because I think a lot of women feel like they can't start a business, they can't go to school, they can't do a lot of things because they will be judged, because they can't show up. In some cases, just because you feel guilty you can't be with your kid.
Right.
So there's just a lot of challenges with that. And if you two would just start sharing and talking about it, I think later on in the archive, when someone listens to this, they may be able to take a nugget away.
Yeah. For me, my situation, as far as me wanting to start the foundation and start what I was doing that started as a women's conference, I actually was at home married. I had my corporate job. My husband was active duty military, and his 2 kids were living with us.
Yeah.
His 2 teenage kids. So at 25 years old, I decided I wanted to do this, and I had 2 kids in the house, and I was still getting my MBA and all of that. So there was a lot going on in the house. Me learning how to be a mom.
Right.
Me still, working with my family. I have a mom, a single mom, two brothers that I'm helping take care of as well. So yeah, it was difficult. The challenge going into corporate America is they didn't seem to care
at all.
And they still don't seem to care
at all.
At all.
Right. How many tweets and how many CEOs leave for maternity leave? It doesn't change.
It doesn't change. And actually, my mentor, who was a guy, he got a divorce and he had to take care of his kids, like you were saying, 24/7. And he missed out on a promotion, was asked to leave the company.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that double standard there of trying to do it all and be all. And so what I decided to do was, okay, I'm going to redefine what success is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of women who talk to me about, how did you do all of this? How did you create a foundation and still working and had your family? I didn't get a lot of sleep some days because it does take a lot of work, but I knew that I wanted to do it. And I knew that my definition of success was being able to help women in the community as well as help the young woman that was in my house that I was trying to raise as well, and do well on my job. And do well on my job did not mean I needed to be the president of that company.
Yeah.
Do well on my job means help my clients do the things that I wanted to do. So I redefined success for me. And even as I exited corporate America this past year, I walked out of there head high going, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And nobody else gets to tell me what that looks like.
I love it, because I'm even going to jump in there one more time. So I'm going to say success-wise is not what the other folks with no kids and no man or no woman are posting on their travels and their heels up, wheels up, and they're doing it big. And you're thinking at home, wow, I can't do that. I mean, so to set expectations, because you say, what is success? And if you're looking on Facebook and all these different platforms and you're seeing like, wow, they're in Dubai, I guess I'm a failure because my kid made it home from school, they have A's, and I managed to have 2 clients at $100,000 a year. I mean, like,
No.
So anyway, that I just had to jump on that because it's a pet peeve. Go ahead.
Well, I'm like just want to piggyback a little bit more on Shantara. Shantara and I know each other, so it's kind of it's wonderful that we had a chance to
Just
meet.
because you two are all stars.
Aha! That's we're in the same galaxy.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things is that I did not start my power journey, as I call it, until I was 35 years old. I left college, married someone who had a very active baseball career. I became a wife and a mother quickly, and my whole life was centered around being my parents' child, my brother's sister, someone's wife, and then became someone's mother. And so my life became defined by the roles in my life, not the desires of my life.
That's a book.
And so it is a book. It's coming out soon, by the way.
Okay.
Cheap plug, but girl got to do what a girl got to do. But the reality of it is that it was a divorce, a bad divorce, that made me realize for the first time that I had to make decisions for myself, and that I had to start defining my version of success. And my first step was to really become my own personal voice, because a lot of the decisions that I was making up to that point were related to being someone's employee, someone's wife, someone's mother, and if they were okay, then I was going to be okay.
Right.
And I really didn't really give myself that much any priority. I wasn't a priority even to myself. So even though I had a great job and I was making my way through this job, I was just happy to get a paycheck. It wasn't until something that I had to go through that personal need to really empower myself. I had to start making decisions for myself. It sounds crazy, but up to that point, I was almost 35 years old, and everything was defined by somebody else. And it was my reality. So now even though I was a corporate citizen, a mother, and a world, I just didn't have my own power.
Yep.
So it was at that point that I created that shift, and I started thinking, what do I want for me? And so I started looking for that next position that I wanted for myself. I wanted to make a certain kind of money, so I worked to make that kind of money. I made decisions for my children. I really started doing things my way. And I met someone, we got married, and he always says, I wonder what it would have been like to be married to the old person. And I said, you wouldn't have liked her. You really like me. And so I'm 54 years old now, and so my journey has, I'm going through this transition, but I'm growing each and every day to that place of power, of personal empowerment. So when in 2004, when the company I was working for made a decision in my family to send my husband to work in a different part of the country, and when I went to my boss and said, my husband's going to Florida, is it possible if I get a job in that same marketplace? And she said to me, your job is here, his job's there, you guys figure it out.
Wow.
And I realized that there was no caring factor, that market share and revenue goals and none of that even mattered. Even though if I was a top performer, it didn't matter. At that point, the company just didn't care.
Yeah.
So I just took my leap of faith, and thank God I was in a position of self-power, of personal power, because I said, this is the last decision you will make for me and my family. So we packed up everything and off to Florida we went, and I started my company in a market that I did not know a soul. It was me, my husband, my daughter, and 2 dogs. And I took a leap of faith, and I started my company, and I've not turned back since. And the reality of it is women, whether it's small steps or little steps, you can do it. Yeah. If you want to go back to school, start getting your transcripts. Yeah. Call ahead. Find out where the gap is. Find out if you could take online classes before you have to take a classroom, session. Right. You may not be that far away. If it's, and let me just say this, it's always going to be about money. I can't do it because I don't have the money. There are resources like Shantara's Foundation and hundreds of other organizations out there that can help fund your dream. Yes. But, first you have to find out if they're there, find out what the criteria is, and please, please, please fill out the paperwork, because I think we have this thing, it's not going to be for me. I'd rather that you not get it because you applied and someone else deserved it than you not getting it because you didn't fill out the paperwork. Yeah. And so there's so many opportunities out there for people to help you find your dream. So ladies, if you're listening on your lunch, take a last bite of your sandwich. I want you to know that you can do what you dreamed to do. Yeah. You just have to start your power plan now.
Yep. Go ahead.
And
I can tell you.
I want to piggyback on something that Yvette said. there's so many women out there that have the same story, the same story, a blend of our stories that are like, hey, this is what I've been wanting to do, but I don't feel like I have the resources. I don't feel like I have the time, on and on and on. And that is one of the reasons why I started doing things with women in the community. That's one of the reasons why we coined the term POW-HER. POW-HER for us, is really defined as a woman's great ability to do and act on anything she desires. Yeah. And so as Yvette talks about empowerment and power, it's like, hey, you have this.
Yes.
You can do this, and we're going to help you take that first step, because it's about the baby steps. Don't worry about how gigantic of a leap it seems to be. Just take the first step and try not to look back so often that you feel like you're not achieving anything.
Yeah. I would like to add something too. And one of the things that when we are thinking of making that next best move, or we put an idea in our heads and now you want to test it out and you say to somebody, hey, I was thinking about doing this, and that person says, oh no, don't do that. Are you crazy? Well, let me just tell you, they're supposed to say no. Yeah. They're supposed to say no, because guess what? We won't call them haters. They're just not, they don't have your vision in mind. They don't have your best interest in mind. They don't know what you know.
Right.
They don't desire what you desire. So of course they're going to say no. Yeah. So take your no, put it in your pocket, and keep moving and find your yes. Yeah. I think what happens is we let other people's no define our dreams. And the reality is they're supposed to say it. They're in line with who they are. They're not charting or navigating your dream. Right. All they're doing is navigating their dream, and guess where they're going? Nowhere. Yeah. So the reality of it is that if you're really looking to grow, then put yourself in an environment with people who want to grow too, and want to grow with you. And if they don't understand you, at least they're supportive of you and want to help you. Yeah. And that's one of the things. And you don't need 10 or 20 people. You just need one person to believe in you and say, and that's you. The second person is the person who's going to give you a push every day or once in a while and say, hey, how's that going? Make you accountable. The reality of it is that anything you want is obtainable, but you just have to navigate around that no and those people.
Wow. Peter, want to jump in on this?
No, that is so true. I just want to thank you, because I learned a lot from that. Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to learn to do. Because, it's been tough for me to get to where I'm at right now, because I have the money and all that stuff. And, it got to a point where I just decided, I just had to do it. And so, I don't know. That's just very personal. I don't know. I mean, because I don't ask for help much. I'm not a networker. I don't share. I'm introvert, and so I do have to agree. I didn't come from a supporting environment, because for anything I always have great ideas. I'm the kind of person. Any company I work for, I always try and want things because I want to improve the well. So when I see how things are done, I say, hey, we can do this better. This is my first thing, my first thought naturally, and so. But I never had that support in my environment where I grew up and stuff like that, and so. For me, saying no is almost curious. So since it's just brought up that way, anytime I talk to people, I'm always going to assume they say no. Yeah. And where little things I do wrong or I consider is a little different, I have trouble with dealing with people, I guess, in that way, because I never learned it. So thank you. I really appreciate that, because the support does help.
Yeah, it does help. Can I tell my best no story ever?
Nope.
Please.
Not allowing it.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to do it anyway.
It's your show today. Go ahead.
One of the things that I was mentioning earlier is in terms of my business is that I help people find the right skills. And one of the unique things that I do in my business is helping people understand how culture impacts their business. And as well as language. So several years ago, I decided to create my own line of stationery cards. I found a gap in the marketplace, and it was one of those things. I had made cards for my family and friends over the years, but I realized that I'm Hispanic and I wanted something that was bilingual or something that was more that I can identify to. So I started researching and doing all the things, and then I found out that not too far from my home, maybe 3 hours away, there was a gentleman who's one of the top producers of stationery products in the country. So I made an appointment. I took my designs. I packed my car and made that 3-hour drive to their office. As I walked in, within 5 minutes of meeting with this gentleman, he stood up and he said, "You're wasting your time. No one's going to buy your cards. Latinos don't buy cards. I'm not going to do this." And so I sat there and I thought to myself, I drove 3 hours to get you to give you money to print my product. And you're going to tell me, no, you don't want to do it because you have this mindset that no one is going to buy my cards? Well, hello. So guess what I did? I got up, started putting my stuff away, and I'm walking out. And he says to me, where are you going? And I said, to find somebody who's going to print my cards. You know, and all the way home, I thought the audacity of this man to simply say no to me when I wanted to give him money.
Wow.
All right? And you're going to run into people who are going to be that bold, you know, but you have to have the courage and the wherewithal to believe in your dream and get to that next step. 2 weeks from that meeting, my product was produced and delivered to my home. I didn't give up on that, okay? Those cards went on to grace the shelves of Walgreens.
Nice.
I got to design products for companies like Target for Christmas. And now through the connections I made at Walmart, I was able to find a company that can mass produce my product now in China. Now, the reason I'm simply sharing that story is because the timeline was 2008. The licensing agreement was signed in 2004. So in that 4 years, that took place. But if I would have stopped that day in Naples, Florida, with that man telling me that he wasn't going to do my product, I couldn't be here to give you this testimony that if you take people's no, your dream dies.
Yep.
Your dream has to be bigger than somebody's no.
Yep. Yep. And that really applies to banks. That applies to any other person because business is a P2P, person-to-person interaction. We try to stress that a lot. And that I get a lot of no's. So my story is the opposite of yours. I had we were the inside outers. We were the kids in a military town that didn't belong there, that was all white, and we were the little brown kids, you know, so we took it on the head the entire time on everything, so you have to be 20 times better just not to get in trouble. But we had this drive in us that we supported amongst each other that we can do it. I don't care what it is. We can do it. And it's amazing because, like, even this week, one of my buddies he's a head coach for one of the teams in the Final Four that'll be here. Right. And you're thinking that passion, basically I'd say find your group. You know, find your group and be very discerning in who you allow in your inner circle. Like, I could probably call 3 people in my phone. You know, I've got thousands online and it's great, but there's just a handful of people that I can be like, I'm full of energy, but now I need some sunshine. I'm tired of being everybody else's source. And for so many people, they're so energetic, but they don't have a retreat. And then we watch them burn out, and we're thinking, boy, you just needed to find the right group so you could get your recharge. It's not even motivation because we're always motivated.
Just so you can be real.
Yeah.
I want to be real.
Yep.
That's so interesting you say that because I was just on the phone last night with my business partner, and she and I were talking about how it's only been a year since we've known each other, but it seems like it's been a lifetime. Right. And I told her, you know, it really is that it's something that I've needed. Yeah. I don't let a lot of people in. Yep. Because of, you know, what Peter was saying, you know, you get the no's and you have to figure out, you know, what is their motivation? Why are they so against what you're trying to do? Why were people so against me starting a foundation to help women? Why are women so against me trying to help women? Right. Why won't they take my money? Why are banks turning down people who are walking in the door? You know, those kind of things. So I don't have a lot of people that I just kind of let in 100%. Yeah. You know, you have pieces of my story here and there, but 100%. And so finding the one person or 2 people or whomever that I can call and talk to just about anything when I'm doing bad, when I'm doing good. Yes. And still have somebody say, don't worry about that. Right. You know, tomorrow's another day. We're going to get up. We're going to do this. Yep. You know, and that's the stuff that you need. That's the support that you need. Now, I am blessed enough to say that I came from a family where my mom, even she was a single mom and was, you know, struggling to get 4 kids out the door and do well. But she never told us that we couldn't do anything. Right. And if someone told us we couldn't, you better look out. She's going to be trying to figure out why you thought you had the audacity to tell my child, my daughter, that she couldn't do something. And so I've had that. I have that in my spouse that I can just say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. And he's like, okay, you know, it may be tough, but, you know, I got you. You know, that kind of thing.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Because I had Kelly and Troy Taylor with Taylor Construction on. And to hear their story, you know, it's one of those, I'm still looking for the audio from that show, but they were just, you know, they were very real. Yep. And it's just one of those things where that's the story that's really never told. We don't have any reality shows on We or anything else about, hey, we were successful and we just did what we're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
You just do it. You just kind of stay the course.
You're the turtle, and the hare gets hit by a car, and you're the turtle, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
But I have to mirror again. Shantara and I are in the same lane here, in supportive spouses, because I know that I couldn't have taken this journey or gotten this far just knowing that I can come home, take off the high heels, take off the Spanx, take off whatever it is, and let's keep it real, and a good hug or just a sympathetic ear.
Yeah.
But I think he's also my toughest critic. He'll let me know, Yvette, you are way out of line. You need to tone it down. He has my best interest in mind, and I think if anything, that's a resource that or something that I just value with everything. It is a true blessing, because he loves me and supports me, but most importantly, he is my best PR. And I just feel like I couldn't have done it without him in my life. So I'm thankful. I am so thankful for that. So it's important to have that strong tie. And so, and talking about Troy and Kelly, and knowing Shantara, been in her home and with her husband Pierre. I mean, it's important to have that, and not everybody has it, and I understand that.
I'm going to tell you, very few have it.
Yeah, but the thing about it is we. And maybe this is, we only have 10 minutes to talk about this, but in business and in life, we create a lot of superficial relationships.
All right,
our
new
Facebook
topic. Here we go.
friends,
Let's go.
Our Facebook friends, our comp plan friends, our, whatever you want to call them. But the reality, my grandmother used to say, friends are like $1 in your pocket. The minute that someone gets a chance, they're going to trade you in for somebody else. And the reality of it is that friends, that's a real unique and personal title. Not everyone is your friend, and everybody who calls them your friend is not your friend.
Right.
And so it's up to you to redefine what your relationship and what your friendships are like. Not everybody comes to my home. Not a lot of people get invitations to my home. That's my sanctuary. So if I let you in, it's because you pass several tests. So I just want to encourage people is, redefine. I think you said that a minute ago, John. Redefine that circle of influence around you. Put real like-minded people, people who have some emotional intelligence, who really know how to react and act in a situation, people who have your best interest in mind, people who just really care. And I think if you I'm not telling you to test them, but what I am saying is you got to know the difference between real and fake. And we've got plenty of fake examples. So move away from that and find that authenticity in people.
Yeah, and it's hard to do because you don't know what you don't know, that whole Mark Twain thing.
Oh, yeah, it's learning. You're learning it as you go.
And if the main voices out there are like, look at me shine, look at me glow, look at all this wonderful things I'm doing, I'm standing next to a private jet, but that's just because I'm waiting on Southwest Airlines, as seen walking past CBS.
I bet the Bentley because it was in the parking lot of the restaurant.
And it's like, maybe we should just focus on getting the Honda, saving up some money, just getting a small room. But that's, they see corporate, they see big people doing big things, but they never really think in terms of, that was a process. It's just like working out, losing weight, getting fit, doing anything. It's like cooking food. It was a process. You just didn't make this incredible Thanksgiving dinner over, within a couple minutes. But so much of what is out there now is just instant gratification, and they're hooking people. Like I said, I went to a seminar a few weeks back, and it just broke my heart. Because I saw everybody get up and go to back a room, and I knew how it was going to go down. And I just kept thinking, had those same people spent the $1,000, the $3,000, and I don't know, there's just so many different places they could have placed those resources, networked, hung out with some people that and so last night I was on like a 3-hour call with somebody, and they're like, how much do I owe you? And I'm like, I'm talking to you at dark 30 because you're trying.
Yeah.
I'm from the farm town. We don't charge each other to come help you move your truck. Okay?
I just show up.
You just show up.
But
out here, everybody's like, you're not going to pick my brain and expertise, especially in the female circle. I get this a lot, like, how much time are you going to spend on it? So I say that to say I'm very excited and proud of the two of you. That's why I was glad, Bianca was like, hey, but I'm on the show. And, we had Brandy, and a few other people in like our first one, Arnetta, they all came in. It was the same thing. It's something about, nothing against you and I, Peter, but it's something about when I get females in the room to start talking about business, we get a lot more information and a lot less ego and a lot less stuff, you know. And so me raised by women but taught to hunt, fish, kill, and build trucks and do all that. Go ahead.
No, I just the word authenticity comes back to and creating a real strategy. You know, if you want to grow, then you got to be around people who want to grow.
Yep.
And, you know, people leave clues. Yeah. People leave clues. You know, they'll say something, but they'll do something else.
Yes.
That's a clue. Or, you know, you'll see that behavior. Trust that instinct. You know, I think, you know, we are all people of faith. We all believe in something greater than ourselves. And part of those gifts is having that discernment. We have it. We just choose to let something else deviate us away. But stay true to who you are. Trust that moral compass that you are with people. And if you see something that you don't like, you know what? Then that's a clue.
Yep.
That's showing. You know, there's that old adage: a leopard doesn't change their spot.
Right.
One thing that I find in working with women is I work a great deal of my time with women all over the country. Some of my coaching clients right now, the majority of them are women, and they're all searching for something because they've all been disappointed. They've all been let down.
Yep.
They've all, you know, and women in different levels of, you know, whether they're just getting out of school or women who are just been let go of their corporate job after 30 years. They're in this point where they're just so disappointed and they're really trying to find themselves again. And what I'm constantly having to get them back to that point is that, you know what, you know the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
You know what you want. The only difference that's keeping things from happening is you opening your mouth.
Yep.
Right? Find your power through your words. And so, and people, you know, I want to encourage people. If you're looking for something right now, the best customer, ask somebody.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for a new mentor, a new coach, a new client, ask people.
Yep.
Ask. Open your mouth. Be empowered through your words.
Yeah. I can't sit there. Go ahead, because I want you to jump in.
I was thinking as you were talking, John, I was thinking about a quote that popped in my head. It shows up every morning at 8 a.m. on my phone, and it says, "Don't expect to be what you haven't worked to become."
Ooh.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
I'm a worker.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to give me anything. I don't expect people to say, "Oh, well, she's cute, so we're going to put her here on the cover of this magazine, or we're going to do whatever." No, I create my own magazine. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So, and I put myself on the cover of it. So, you know, it's one of those things where I don't expect other people to give me anything.
Yeah.
I work for it because I appreciate it a lot more. I mean, coming from that single parent household where you saw a woman, I saw a woman every day working her butt off to take care of the family, and see my husband working. I mean, hey, you know, a soldier, you can't tell them that they haven't worked.
Right.
You haven't so my family is a testament to working to get what we've accomplished and continuing to work. And women sometimes feel like we are owed something sometimes, you know, especially if you're married to someone who may be successful.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know, if you're married to someone that has a little name, now you need a little name. And so I think that came from TV. I think that came from all of our shows
and
now, our reality shows.
Does not define
your handbag and your shoes with what color bottoms on them.
What happens to the red bottoms when the red scrapes off?
I have no
what
idea.
Happens?
They
Is there a red bottom
I don't know.
shoe fixer person?
Yeah, right. I'm sure. But, you know, it really reminds me that I need to work for what I want. The goals that are on my list and the clarity that I like to have with myself comes from me working. Comes from me each and every day figuring out what's the new work I have to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I know I haven't jumped in a little bit.
Hold on. Let's there you go. Get in there.
All right. No, I haven't jumped in a little bit, but there is a phrase that the commencement speaker at my graduation said to me, and I think it's really fascinating because when you're in a room, you always want to walk with elephants. And I remember that to this day. And I think these women and all of these gentlemen who are here are great examples of elephants. And I think that everybody needs to realize that everybody has their own skill set as well. Yeah. So at that same point where you're looking at these elephants that you're walking with, don't discount what you have inside of you too. You know, you're just as powerful to be able to inspire others. Yeah. And we were all created with certain gifts and certain talents. And I think that's such a huge takeaway message because there are different generations who have been given different environments, who have different skill sets. And everybody, like you said, just kind of needs that little push and kind of to figure out where we need to go and how we need to do it and who we really want to be at the end of the day, because, you know, point blank, you can pretty much do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah. And I can tell you, because we only have like a couple minutes left, so the thing for me, I was the kid afraid to go order the chicken. My mom sent me to the KFC, order some chicken. They do the order wrong, but I was too scared to say anything. Then I go back, get that lecture, then have to go back. So I had to build up emotional calluses, like on your hands. And that's what I'm telling people. You got to go out and get used to hearing no and realize the world keep going. Like, there's nothing worse than sitting next to the person in school that melts behind a B. And you realize, boy, it's better it happens now than, 35 years old when this takes place. But with that said, I just want you to go around and give contact information because we got to get out of here. It's been an awesome hour. I didn't have to go to break or anything because you're that awesome. So, Peter, give us some contact information if you want to be contacted.
Yeah, I guess my menus and more at gmail.com is my email. Okay.
And I'll definitely, so it'll be on SoundCloud, it'll be on YouTube. I'll put all that information in the information below. But go ahead, Yvette.
YvetteMayo.com, and that's Yvette with an I, IVETTEMAYO.com.
Okay.
The Chapman Women's Foundation.org or emailing me at Shantara at 4 empoweringwomen.org.
Okay, and give your name once again.
Shantara, SHANTERA.
Okay, full name so they can, in case they want to find you on, there you go. If they want to find you on LinkedIn.
Yvette Mayo.
Okay.
Peter Tran.
Okay, you want? Okay, and so with that said, I want to thank all of you for coming in today. This was probably the most funnest show I've had yet because I didn't have to do anything but stand here and listen to a lot of wise people give a lot of great advice, a lot of great insight. So with that said, go to SoundCloud. If you check us out on EE Hour, is where I'm placing all this because that was our former title. That was our former show. But with that said, we'll see you next week. I'm going to get with this group in the room, and I think we're going to actually do our own TV show and something like from the Microsoft Center. I got some ideas here because I love sharing this wisdom. So with that said, have a productive week, and we will talk and see you next week.